we're going to move on to a game called Achaia. I got to be careful because it does not have an R. So it's not Achaia. It's Achaia.
Yes. This bad boy was designed by Krzysztof Wolicki. The art was by my man, Dominik Kasprzycki, and published by REDIMP Games.
Well, I'll get into explaining the game, but we're going to straight up go with my man comment.
Yes. Yeah. So when you start putting these games together, I realized you're picking all the games I hadn't played yet. So when I Googled this one, Achaia, the
You
first
saw the art?
the first Google that I put in was Achaia pronunciation. Everybody didn't know how to pronounce it.
Is it Achaia?
No.
It's Achaia.
Achaia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an A on the end. America.
Is it Achaia? I don't know. I actually watched the video with
The Board Game Geek one?
Yeah.
Yes. And the guy pronounces it. Yeah.
Achaia.
It is Achaia?
Yeah.
I was wrong totally. It doesn't have an R and it has an A.
And he actually, I think, I didn't even really catch the C in it. It more sounded like yeah, it had like a really soft C in it. It almost sounded like he was leaving it out, but you could
like
barely
Achaia.
catch it.
Oh, that's kind of cool then. Much respect for the name of the game.
Yeah.
The art, however, it says, I don't want to be released in America.
Yeah.
It says you get a mature rating on a board game.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let me explain the game. I guess we'll go back into that. But essentially, you put out these giant tiles in the middle of the table. It's a grid of them. I think there's 12, like 4, 4, 4. And they're labeled 1 through 12, and you can mix them up in the advanced game. But the idea is you roll your dice, like 5 dice. And the dice are just 6-sided. And you take turns at the beginning of the game, placing them on the board, just 2 of them, or 3 of them. And then you only play the game 3 rounds, but 1 round is really long. I mean, it's not boring or anything, but it's really long. Anyway, once you place them out on the board, each spot it's basically area control with dice. But the dice is your power level. So if I put a 5 down, you put a 6, now you're controlling that. Even though we only have 1 die apiece, it's still a better die. And, you know, it may only have a max of 2 dice, 3 dice on that spot or whatever. And so throughout the round, if you're familiar with Spartacus, the board game, it's basically playing 3 very long intrigue phases. And that's the game.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But on your turn, you get cards. And as long as you can play a card, or pretty much as long as you can play a card, that's an action, you're in the game. At some point, you're going to have to pass because you don't have enough cards, or you want to carry them over to the next round. And then you're done, except every time it passes by you again, you get 2 gold. So it does kind of benefit you for going out early because you do get a lot of gold built up.
And the card, too, the special ability on.
Oh, and like depending on the number of players, the first or second player gets to play an event card they got. So you get this event card that's pretty cool. And then you're like, well, do I stay in as far as possible? I really want to save these cards till next round. So it's got a little bit of that stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But in the second round, you get some stuff and whatever. There's some upkeep that happens, and you get more intrigue cards. Or are they called intrigue? I can't remember. We just called them intrigue the whole time.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't either. But anyway, you get more cards, and you play another round. And at the end of each round, there's these special abilities on each tile that happen. And you get to do stuff like reroll other dice. And so like the tiles that go first, like the number 1, which isn't even actually viable on the first couple rounds because it's closed, so to speak. You put these like closed markers on them. And 2 tiles open up each round past the first one. So only all the tiles are available in the last round, but not the previous rounds. But like number 1 or number 2 allow you to reroll 2 or 1 dice of anybody's. So like you could try to reroll your 1 somewhere, maybe get a higher point value, or reroll somebody else's and try to drop them down. And so, you know, that order happens in a specific order. That's why shuffling them up actually matters in an advanced game, because then it makes certain actions worth more than others. Because if you're rerolling the dice at the very end of the round, it doesn't matter until next game or next phase. And then you just keep playing, and basically you're playing to get points of power, because you're trying to influence these houses or whatever they're called of Troy. And you get a power point each time you place one of your, or each time you win a tile at the end of a phase, you get to put one of your power points down. It's like an influence marker, and then you get to increase on the power track. And that's pretty much the game. You get power that way. You get some power from other things at the end of the game, and whoever has the most points wins. But essentially, like I said, it's just a bunch of intrigue, playing cards, moving dice around, trying to area control, get points. And we didn't really play with this on the first time we played it, but like you you could do the whole negotiation thing, like the I'll give you $1 if you don't go there, or I give you $2 if you don't attack me.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really do that, but I think it would completely amplify the game, like Spartacus levels.
Right.
Is it like Spartacus non-binding?
It's non-binding, yeah. So if you make a binding deal right now, you have to go with it.
Like immediate, but future promises can be broken.
Yeah, I'm going to go here, and then later on you go here, and I'll let you have it.
Yeah.
Right, you don't have to follow with that.
Now, all the cards are about modifying the dice, correct?
Some of them are just drawing new action or entries.
Well, you talk about the cards, the entry card?
Yes.
That's what's weird. They're double action on them.
Oh, so they have, okay. I remember seeing that now. One action, take top, bottom action, this or that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this or that. You get to pick. And some of them were like pay 2 gold and cancel another person's entry card. Mm-hmm. Or you can instead trade it in for 4 gold. I don't know if that's the actual card,
right.
but you see what I'm saying.
Okay.
Some of the cards don't seem very balanced versus each other. There's some that are obviously way better.
I do think that most of them were either take that or gain for yourself kind of cards. So it either had like an action to do on somebody or something to benefit you just by itself.
Yeah.
It seemed like. Maybe not all of them, but most of them it seemed like were like that.
What did you think about the game, though, overall?
Man, I don't know. It's... Like you said, I mean, I might as well just play Spartacus, I guess.
See, I thought the same thing, but I will say that the only thing about Spartacus is I don't like the ending. The game's a huge build-up. It's awesome. You're fighting. You're getting all these points, and then kill the guy with 12 points.
Well, that's true. That doesn't happen because there's not a threshold you're trying to reach. It's just points outright. I think sometimes the penalties were a little brutal.
Like what penalties?
Well, like I know the one time you, I think, played the card that was like everybody has to pay 1 gold or discard a card or something, but if you can't do it, you lose a victory point. I was like, ouch.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
That was pretty detrimental to have happen.
That's a good thing. I think that was one of my event cards, I believe.
It might have been.
Because I went out first.
Yes.
Now, I will say the event cards, some of them were extremely lame.
I think everyone I got was awful.
Yeah, they were not balanced. But I guess that's kind of a good and a bad thing, because if you got a really awesome one and you're playing a lower player count game like a 2 or 3,
it'll force you to go out quicker.
Yeah, because if you don't get to play it.
But then you're losing. You might get a cool action there, but then you're also losing 2-3 rounds. But then you're getting gold. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where I guess the events don't really need to be balanced. They just need to be, because that event says, look, this isn't that great, but it allows you to stay in the round longer if you want to, and then go out, whereas somebody else might just try to go out as fast as possible to play their event card. I do feel like, I think I said it then too, sometimes it felt very you were at a disadvantage sometimes going last, because sometimes like there was people out there that you could pay to get their services, but every time someone used it, it put like a token on it and you had to pay that much more. Well, the one was like to draw cards. Well, them cards are pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So that one person, was that a static person that was there like every round?
It's a tile. Like normally there's a deck of cards that you flip out 3 characters each round. And then there's a card next to them that has 2 guys on it. And those stay in the game for every phase.
Yes. So first person's going to go, they're going to pay 2. The next person's going to go pay 3. Well, the last person's got to pay 5 just to keep up with everybody. Yeah,
because you're paying 2 gold, you get 2 cards. That's essentially 2 more rounds you can stay in the game, because each card is a round, or it stays in the game 1 round because you get another action you can play.
So you either got to choose if you don't want to pay it and have 2 less cards, which equals going out earlier, and just 2 less things you can do.
No, I mean, that could be like one of those things where maybe just we were seeing strategies that were better. That was really powerful, I thought, but we only played it once.
Right.
So it's one of those things where maybe instead of doing that, I should have played this card on here and got rid of something or moved something else before you could react to it.
Right.
Yeah. There's some guards. They're called cousins. They allow you to do you can discard them or whatever it is to roll a die, and you get a chance at negating an intrigue card and stuff.
Right. You could pay 2 to have it just straight happen, or it had the
a chance
to either not have it happen at all, or just use it and get it back.
Yeah. So it's got a lot cool. Like, I feel conflicted because I feel like this is definitely a game I want to play more because there was a lot of cool stuff going on. But at the same time, like, I can see it maybe kind of getting annoying at times because you're right. Some of the penalties, and it's got a little bit of a take that.
Yes.
But the difference is this is definitely a game. It's got take that, but you're taking that not against the leader because you're not always attacking the leader because the leader's not always the person doing the best.
I never even paid attention to who had points.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's one of those games where, oh, really?
Not really. I was just more concerned about the points, the area control aspect of it, but not like the victory point board.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not really worried about who is in the lead. You're worried about what's going on in the actual game.
Yes.
And I think that's a good thing for, take that because you're not just trying to bash on a leader. You're trying to it does want you to bash on the people that's, contesting things with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Did you watch a review on this?
I did watch the review. One thing I'm interested in that you guys haven't mentioned yet, because I thought this would be a big problem when I first watched it, is you're not talking about dice rolling at all. So you roll the dice. Is it anything like, oh, Matt, he just rolled 5 6s.
Well,
and I rolled a 2 and a 3 and a 3 and a 2.
We thought that too. So when you start the game, you roll the dice. You have a choice to re-roll them if you want. And whoever has the lowest number total goes first. But the variant, which we did not play with, when I read it, I was like, solved. Because I actually said this during the game. I was like, why don't they just do it like Dungeons and Dragons and give you so many points? In the variant, you get 19 points to spend on your dice.
And you spread them out.
Yeah, you hide them.
That much better.
Yeah, you hide them or whatever, and you spend your points, and then whoever has the lowest on like the lowest 3 dice, you take your lowest 3 dice and add those together, and then whoever has the lowest, but amongst all the players, actually gets first at that point.
Okay.
So yeah, that fixes that whole. I think the first thing's fine because you just roll or whatever, but we quickly saw that I rolled like a boss.
Yeah.
And I pretty much had all 5s and 4s.
It takes a lot of work to get your dice to move up. So that was the problem we saw. We thought, okay, well, if you roll low, then you get to go first. It turned out that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You could take one of the entire rounds of the game. There's 3 to get like 2 points on every die. And you just spent like every one of your cards. I mean, it takes a lot.
Okay.
And then somebody plays the card, brings it back down.
Yeah.
And you're like, seriously?
Now, is this an official variant or just something already?
It's in the book.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually think they should have just put that and then made the variant. If you're playing it for the first time, roll your dice.
It's something cool though, and you probably saw it in the video. Did you watch the Board Game Geek video we're talking about?
No.
I think you said that earlier. But at whatever, I think that was the Board Game Geek con. But they had a special, the little cardboard standee, the first player marker.
Yeah.
Well, at that convention, they had them. I don't know if they were selling them or giving them away, but it's pretty much like a resin replica of that girl on that throne.
Oh,
it was
gotcha.
like pretty good sized and pretty neat looking, detailed and everything. So
too detailed.
Yeah, too detailed.
That's the other thing we were talking about. I mean, the risque artwork. I mean, it's really
risque.
Yeah, it's really out of place, to be honest with you, because some of them, like, it doesn't make any sense. It's not like the whole game has a theme like that, but some of them are just like, here's a naked girl, and we're going to put a 1/2-inch piece of cloth over just, the top part of her.
Well, the one picture, which was one of the cards the guy flips out, I think, in this demonstration, the girl just looks like she's undressing. Like she's got like terrible. Pretty much a cloth on and opening it up, and it just looks like she's about to disrobe.
Yeah. And there's another one that actually the girl's on a torture table and they're stabbing into her, things with nails that are hot. So I feel like you could make some minor changes to the art because there wasn't that many. I mean, I could probably think about the handful that were in the game.
Yeah, maybe
out of
4 or 5.
Tons of art that this game provides. You take that stuff out, maybe rework the cover art, you could appeal to a wider audience.
But it was shocking, though.
It was shocking, yeah, because it was almost uncharacteristic.
Right.
Like what's the point at that point?
Right, yeah. I mean, if your game had tons of it, then, whatever. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, but at least you're sticking with it. It would be like playing Formula a Day and there's just naked women all over the place.
Yeah.
You're kind of like,
this doesn't fit.
This doesn't, yeah. I mean, I know, like, sometimes at NASCAR events, things get out of hand, but not in my board game.
Yeah.
Not that I'm opposed to it. I'm just saying that it just seemed uncharacteristic.
Right. A little forced, maybe.
A little untasteful.
Yeah, it was not done in a way that made sense. Like, okay, you've got 300 pieces of art in this game. I mean, there's tons of art, and 5 of them are a big problem. Like, 4 of them are just okay, well, all right, maybe they're just, the artist, is bored. But like one of them, the one I was talking about, the torture thing, that was kind of like, whoa, that probably is a little bit too much. So anyway, final thoughts. Are you looking forward to playing it again?
Not looking forward to it, but I won't object.
Well, I bought it. We have to.
Yeah, no, I get that.
If we play, we have to play the variant.
Are you going to play it?
I will not play without the variant.
I'll probably never play it again with the roll the dice, because the variant just sounds amazing to me.
Yeah.